Hi everyone, welcome to Dragon Image. Today I'm here to show you how to balance the DJI Ronin M. This is a hanging gimbal system. So the first thing we've got to do is obviously assemble it. Out of the box you'll see it comes in a couple of different pieces. If you do happen to own one and you're going to be pulling it out all the time, I recommend getting a case big enough to actually have it assembled so you don't have to go through this process. Because this is a hanging system, what you'll find is you actually have to kind of put this stand out to hang the system. So first of all, little buttons on the side, push those in and they just kind of click down. You got there, and then these ones here for the upright. Okay, this part here is detachable, so just remember to tighten that off. And to increase the height, all you do is push this in, not pull, push, and then lift it up and that kind of locks off into position. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, this is the top handle. We're going to attach the side handles to this. So these, again, very simple, just go on and just screw in place. Yes. And then these here are your handles. So when you put these on, don't put them on that way because it's backwards. Put it in nice so that they angle out, or whatever's more comfortable for you. You know, if you like them the other way, then that's a preference. Same on the other side, and make sure you loosen that up. Very nice, light construction. The Ronin M is probably a lot of advantages over the standard Ronin was the fact that it doesn't weigh an absolute ton, where the original Ronin was quite heavy, where this one is a lot more kind of user-friendly. Okay, so at the top here, you'll see a little quick release system, and that just kind of locks it. So as I slide this on, that's, make sure it's not rotating. Clicks in, and then you turn this little red knob on this side here to lock that off. Okay, so that's the assembly. So once you've got it assembled, you can actually sit it up on this stand, and that allows you to get into a nice comfortable position to start balancing it. So let's just grab the camera. Okay. So today I'm using a DSLR, but you can use any camera, well, you know, within reason. A7S is very popular for this particular unit. Blackmagic cameras, you can go up to about the size of, for instance, a Red Dragon, but kind of trimmed down. If you go anything heavier than that, then you'd have to go for the standard Ronin. Here we have the base plate, and here we have this screw. So it comes with quite a few different screws, but this is really the only one you need, which is a 1/4 inch for this particular configuration. And what that does, that just screws straight into there. Unlike most kind of systems, this is actually a hex screw, so not like a flat head, like you'll find with most tripod heads. So just be aware of that and don't lose the actual tools. Turn that up and lock that off. If you wanted to, you could have used one of the back further ones as well. With the Ronin M, it does come with a lens support, so if you're using a system that has particularly heavy lens, there is a support system that included with that. Okay, so here we have that. We just loosen this up and slide that in. Again, you can see that as I'm putting this on, because it's in the middle, I'm actually hitting this side here with the DSLR. So what I want to do is I'll take this off, loosen off these two a little bit, and slide that system over. Making sure not to hit, not to go too fast. For instance, that's like that. I go over, I won't be able to lock it. So I need to make sure that it's in a position where I can actually still get to it. So come over a bit, lock it off, and that just slides in. Okay, now that I'm sliding it in, I'm not going to lock it off quite yet. I'm actually going to just slide it backwards and forwards until it kind of feels like it's a little bit balanced. So for instance, say about there, and then just lock that off, and you lock that off just by pulling that down and getting that click sound. Okay, now if I let go of it, you'll see that it's kind of always going to the bottom. That's because that it's very bottom heavy in relation to these axes. So what I want to do is I want to get the weight above these axes to be the same as below. So in order to do that, you've got two red tabs on the sides. Just loosen these up, What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift that entire camera support. Again, just lock it off, let go. It's still doing it, so I need to go a little bit further. There are numbers on this, so for instance, if you've got the same kind of configurations that you're using, you could write down the numbers for each setup so that you could quickly get back to that instead of having to go through the process of, trial and error. Okay, so let go. So by the looks of that, I'd say that it is currently, so if it's kind of going backwards and forwards, which is kind of what it's doing, I'd say that the camera is actually a little bit back heavy at this particular point. So again, let's loosen up this support for the camera. What you'll find is the closer you get the perfect balance, the more you'll notice that some of the ones you did at the beginning might be slightly off, so you just need to kind of make micro adjustments. Okay, let go of it, now it's forward heavy. Okay, I'm gonna kind of just pull this down just a slight bit because it seems to be a little bit top heavy as well. That's enough. Yep. There we go. Forward heavy. Loosen this one up again. Move it back slightly. Let go. Still back heavy. Back slightly. Oh, that's pretty good. The idea is that when you let go of it, it wants to say where you let go of it. So because it's kind of going back down, I can say that at the moment it's a little bit back heavy and it's a little bit down heavy. I can see that because it's not going straight like that and it's not going straight like that. So because it's kind of stopping about halfway, it means that it's still a little bit back and it's still a little bit bottom. What I'll do is I'll correct this back slightly, and if it goes forward now, I've gone too far. The problem with this click system I'm finding is that I can't make any real minor adjustments without it kind of popping. So I just have to be really kind of careful when I'm doing it. It's a bit better. So again, the idea is to get it to a position where you can kind of let go of it and it stays that way. Because this is still a little bit down heavy, I can just release these two on the sides. Okay. Bring it up a bit. Knock it off. And let go of it. Oh. And what you've seen there is I've gone too far. So again, loose, loose. That's pretty close, actually. I could sit there and tweak it even further, but for this example, it's actually not that bad. Okay, so now you'll see that it's kind of falling off to this side. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to balance everything on this axis back to the camera. So the weight on this side and on this side should match. So as I let go of it, it falls to that side. So I have two options. I can loosen this back screw there and slide the entire unit over a bit, or I can slide the camera over a little bit. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to slide the camera first because it's the easier one of the two and doesn't require any tools. So just slide that over slightly. Make sure they're tight. And now, oh, too far, see? So now I can quickly come back. And you'll notice down here there are numbers as well, so you can very easily kind of see what you're doing, and you can make really nice smooth adjustments on this particular axis. Let's look off the one just so I can check. Oh, there we go. So go of it. It's going pretty much back to flat, so that's good. And that is that. Okay. Now once you've done all those axes, then what you need to do is you need to do the balancing from this axis. So if I tilt this forward, like this, and see how that kind of swings around? At the moment, that's kind of where you want it to be. If it was to go all the way back here, so for instance, let me unbalance it so you can have a look. If I go, ooh. Oh, that's right. So I'll just unbalance it. So this got a little knob, forwards and backwards, and then if I put it back to where it was, if I let go of it, kind of swings that. So that tells me that it's very back heavy. So what I do is I turn this to the left. So, and you've got little markers here so you can kind of see where you're going. So I'm just going to go 2.5. And if I let go of it now, see how it kind of goes back to the back. Now I've gone too far. So again, there's some nice little adjustments. So the idea is that you kind of want it to stop about here. Yeah, so about there. Okay, so at that point, that's basically balanced. With this system, it's always good with all gimbal systems to kind of have everything on before you kind of start, so that you're going to have the maximum kind of configuration. But I'll just check. Because the battery is only on this axis, it doesn't affect this one and this one, or the side and the back. What I can do is put the battery on, check that forward and back weight again, so see how that kind of swings all the way back. So now I've got to move that back plate again to counteract the fact that I've added the battery. So a lot of the time, like, people go, well, what if I change lenses and stuff like that? It will affect it, but you may get away with it. You end up using more of your battery life if you don't want to end up rebalancing every time you change something. With some settings, you may need to make minor adjustments, but most of it's pretty good. Okay, still a bit back heavy. You can kind of see it doing that little thing. Keep going. Oh, that's pretty much there. Yeah, so that's it. So that's balanced with a DSLR. If I was going to add a monitor to this, I wouldn't have to balance it again. All I would do is add the monitor mount to one of the sides and then attach the monitor. What I would need to keep in mind is the type of HDMI cable I'm using in this particular setup. And the reason for that is, for instance, if you're using a traditional HDMI cable, they tend to be very kind of stiff. And so what happens is, if that's plugged in there and that hits there, then it's going to push the camera. It's going to work as a spring. So you need to get an ultra thin HDMI cable when mounting monitors onto these type of gimbals. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.